I think even like with the complacency thing, it's very easy to become complacent in today's game.
Mm-hmm.
When all the benefits that you do get towards it, it's like, what? Why do I now want to go back to training when last night I was in a 5-star restaurant eating a scram with me bird and my mates and all that and having a belter? Why do I have that extra hunger? I'm just looking forward to doing that again. I can't be arsed with running around and doing all this training. It can be like that. It's about the environment that you're in, the manager that you've got who can pull you out of that hole. The difference between the list that you mentioned before is that some players on that list have actually got the ability that where they only need a mentality shift, whereas other players on that list, like
They don't have
for
the
instance,
ability.
yeah, like they don't have the like Rashford. I always look at like I think he only gets so far. I think we
Yeah.
realised how far he can get, up and down. Like okay, like yeah, you'll get a few goals, but you won't sit there in 20 years and think, remember that performance from Rashford. Whereas you
Yeah.
will sit there, at least Liverpool fans will definitely. I don't think Man United fans will sit there in 20 years and talk about Rashford. Whereas we'll sit there in 20 years and talk about Trent. I really do believe that. And I think even through this little drop in form, I think he's absolutely someone who has got the ability to fix it and someone who's got
But
the
is that
ability
not
to change
because
this team on an offensive front.
is that not because we've brought through more quality youth players than you lot though? Because you'll talk about Trent, but
What's the
other than
question?
Steven Gerrard, who else can you really talk about? Whereas we can talk about Paul Scholes, we can talk about, do
I
you know what
don't
I
see the
mean?
relevance in the argument.
No,
What's
because when
the
you're saying you'll still talk about Trent, do you
yeah?
think the reason why you lot will talk about Trent is because you guys don't produce that many homegrown
Oh,
players at that
okay.
level?
No,
That's what
I
I mean.
get you. No, because it's not for me. Maybe for some other people. You know what I mean? But for instance, Curtis Jones is Scouse. He scored a winning goal in a derby match, and we're not going to talk
Yeah,
about him in 20 years. We
yeah.
won't. It's because of the thing he's done on the pitch, the experiences he gave us, the Barcelona game, the pass, the free flowing passes, the switches of the ball, some of the free kicks, some of the long shots. Like really, like some great moments as a player in huge games, won every single trophy for the football club. I think all those things I've just listed there, whether you think Trent is a good player, bad player, inconsistent, and he'll never make it to the hype, he has still had an unbelievable career. And this patch of his career has been successful, whether people like it or don't. And he has done that through his own technical ability. And he's been in a team where the manager has notified what he's good at and what he's not good at, being able to accommodate a style of play that's going to allow Trent to bomb forward. And Trent has been one of the best players at that role. In terms of the attacking role, the wing back type thing, he has been unbelievable at being able to, get to such a high level with that. So no, I'm going to be sitting there in 20 years talking about Trent from what he's gave me as a Liverpool fan. And it's not just one moment. It's not like, oh, do you remember when he scored that free kick against Hoffenheim? You've got the free kick against West Ham. You've got the multiple the goal against City in the Community Shield, even though it was the Community Shield. The corner to Origi in the semi-final of the
Yeah, of
Champions
course.
League,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
unbelievable moment. Like, just so many really good things. And I would be very surprised if you told me you weren't going to make that list even longer. So that's what it is from my... I don't think it has anything to do with the fact that he's from the academy.
Yeah. No, fair enough. Fair enough,
So
bro. Like, I
would
can't
you
even...
say that I'm flawed there? Do you think there will be Liverpool fans who are just going to say it just because he's a Scouser, or do you think they'll look more to his on the football ability and what he's actually achieved?
Nah, because at the end of the day, football is an emotional game, and at the end of the day, yeah, he was an instrumental part of you guys securing the Champions League, which you hadn't done in many, many years. So he's cemented, bro. Like his legacy cemented. Like everyone remember that corner kick, bro. Like everyone remember that. Do you know what I mean? Like there'll be kids fucking recreating that goal in 20 years, bro. Like
Yep.
there's no two ways about it. Like the guy is cemented in legacy. The same way Solskjaer's cemented in our club's legacy, even though he did nothing really else other than that. Like he'll be there forever just because of how important that goal was. So because of that corner from Trent and that, bro, he cemented. There's no two ways about it, bro. And that's probably another reason why I think that this shit's gone to his head. Do you know what I'm saying? It's gone to his head, bro. The guy's got a
Maybe.
mural. He's
But
got a mural in Merseyside, and he like the guy's fucking immortal, bro. And he's 24. Like,
he's won everything at the club. He deserves a moral in
yeah,
Merseyside. Even Steven Gerrard, our greatest ever player in the Premier League era in terms of longevity, is still at that level, but he never won everything at the club. And obviously circumstances come into that, but we don't have the picture of Steven Gerrard lifting the Premier League. We don't have the picture of of Steven Gerrard lifting like all the other trophies that Trent has won. He's won an FA Cup. He's won a Champions League. We see them two pictures all the time. Trent has got 8 different trophies, like 8 different pictures of him lifting silverware. And it's not like he's just been a bystander. Like, say if Jordan Henderson was a Scouser.
Yeah.
Like, if Jordan Henderson was a Scouser, we wouldn't be talking about him in 20 years. Just because he's a Scouser, because of the way he plays. He's important to the team, but
but you don't have the
he
highlights.
doesn't have highlights.
Yeah.
Exactly. But Trent has brought in the performances. He's brought in the moments. And I get what you're saying about complacency. I just think I have not seen enough of a case study. I think a case study can only be developed over time. And I think the same way when you say a player's finished, loads of people said it with Mane, clearly was not the case last season, at least. Players can always bounce back. They can always get back to the better. Fucking hell, people thought Messi was finished last season. And even though that was a flawed argument because he still had the most assists in the French league, look at him this season. He's even better than what he was last year, statistically, and the involvements and the volume of chances he's creating and scoring. Trent can get back to his best. So before I jump on he's getting complacent, it could be literally anything. And it could even be it could be what you've said, maybe. He just needs that, what we were talking about before, that consequence. Like, shit, I don't want to lose this. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%.
If this is the season where he has to have that, then that's just how it's going to be. But I do think he'll bounce back and come
he's
better than ever
comfortable,
before.
bro. This is what happens when people get comfortable. They get lazy. And this is why you always have to shake things up. And this is the reason why Sir Alex Ferguson, no matter what happened, whether we won the league or didn't win the league, he always added to his squad.
So do you think we should replace Trent?
It's not that you should replace him.
Accommodate someone to fill in?
Bruv, you need to recruit serious competition for him. Do you know what I'm saying? Because he's been the main man for this manager for how long? For what? 6 seasons now? Or
yeah,
the main man. So think of it this way: this guy knows that there's no competition. He knows that if he turns up on match day and he's drunk, he's playing, bruv. Like, there's no one else. Do you know what I mean? And that's what it is. That's the difference.
Do you know what?
Every competitive squad you look at, there's always someone coming for your spot, but not Trent's.
Do you know what, Rants? You're 100% right until you add context of the situation of the club that he's at and the situation we're in. I 100% agree. I think Rob Tsimikas is a prime example. Someone who can come in, fill in a void and do more than a good enough job. Trent Alexander-Arnold, on the other hand, is in a situation where, listen, over time, we've had to always buy that extra big player, whether it was a midfielder, whether it was an attacker. There's always been priorities that have overlooked the right-back position. So although I agree with the notion of you saying we need to get competition in that position, just based on the finances that we've been spending and based on the targets that the club will have set for themselves, a right-back and a backup right-back just isn't their priority. Hence why they'll go out and instead of getting, I can't think of an example at the top of my head, but let's just say Nathaniel Klein in his pomp, say if he was still in his pomp now and we go and get him, and he's the backup right back, then that's a good right back to have as a backup. You don't mind him stepping up and having to fill in a void. But instead, we've gone with the more long-term approach in Calvin Ramsey, who's still a semi-alright decent player now, still yet to see what he can do. But it's someone who is profitable, it's someone who has potential, and it's someone who has a similar style of play to Trent Alexander-Arnold. We just haven't seen him yet. What you're saying right now about the fact that we've got no competition for him, right now that's true. But even before a transfer window, that can be changed, because if Calvin Ramsey comes in and puts in the level of performances that, let's say, Tsimikas has, then already that argument's out the window, and we've had other priorities. So even though I agree with you, and I do think there's an element where he can be getting complacent about a multitude of things, I think it's just more difficult for Liverpool to be able to fulfil that fantasy of bringing in just any right back that they want, because they can't